Hello, hold on 1 second. Okay, get my sound down. Let me see if I'm live. I am live. Okay, very good, very good. Hello, everyone. Just bringing up my phone here so that I can see the comments as they come in. All right, so welcome to the Live at 5. I am Janine. You are inside Minding Your Soul. We have a lot of new members that are coming in. I think 40 came in last week, and I think we're up to 20-something this week. And it's such perfect timing. I never know what brings people in, for what reasons. We do what we do, and it's usually word of mouth. And so many people are coming in. So if you are new, this is the Live at 5. I am Janine, the founder of Minding Your Soul. It's also a website, mindingyoursoul.com, if you want more information. But I go live here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I give you another piece of the protocol, which is the Star of Kill detox protocol that we use here in this group to heal. And we also bring you stories of healing to create that library of evidence in your brain that healing is possible. Because as we go through the healing journey and we're going through the peaks and the valleys are rough. And especially that first valley that you go into where it feels like your symptoms are getting worse. If you don't have enough evidence in your brain to support that this is healing, you need that to keep going and to not give up. And that's why I bring you this story. I don't like talking about my story. I don't like going back into the past, but I know how important it is to understand how I got from that, paralyzed arms and legs, on the beta-serum, giving myself shots every other day, couldn't take care of myself, to this, teaching people how to heal themselves. So I know it's a very important part of the story, but I didn't want to take up time out of the workshop that starts on Monday. So every 3 months, I do a workshop, and it's free. We do it for 5 days. I go live in the group every day at noon Eastern Time. Everything is Eastern Time. I'm in New Jersey. And I teach you the entire protocol, because if you're just coming into this group and you're seeing acronyms like LW, CJ, HMDS, you're like, what is going on here? There are so many things that people are talking about, different parts of the protocol in this group, that unless you know like the big picture, it's hard to follow along. So every 3 months, I do a workshop to explain the entire protocol. I give it all away. I give it all away for free, and I always will. I will never charge for this protocol because that would be ridiculous. I feel like this is the information that we needed to be taught in school. We needed to be taught as we were growing up, how the body works, how the body heals. And so we can together end the suffering. So as you heal, you pass the information on, and you pass the information on. I don't do this story very often because I live in the now. I really don't like going back into my past and talking about it because it stirs up so many emotions, but I know I have to do that part of it too to heal. And before we get started, thank you guys for jumping on and saying hi. It's so nice knowing that there are people on the other side of that camera and I'm not just talking to myself. Claire, Grace, I'm so happy to hear your updates. Holiday, booked, new job, we're getting there. Congratulations, and thank you for the updates. It's awesome. We have, Stephanie, Quinn, Rhonda, Nancy. Hello, everyone. Hello, Talis. Hello. Talis, I need an update soon. I've been thinking about you lately. Send me a message. I need an update. We have created such a group, such a safe community. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this group is very different from the other MS groups. Everyone is not only healing, of course, that's what we're doing here, we're healing, but everyone is so supportive of everybody else. It's such a safe place to ask a question. What's going on? How do I do this? And everybody flocks to that question and offers their advice and support. And my heart is warmed every time I go into this group, which is not as often as I'd like. So if you need me to see something or respond to something, please tag me. Little boy is walking now. He's 15 months. And for everyone who's new, I have a 17-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 15-month-old. Yep, no, it wasn't an accident. That was IVF. Second time married. This is my second go around at life. I feel like I had my previous life and now I have this life. And so I love staying in the now and talking about healing and how it's done. I figured it out. And when I first healed, I'm going to try to stick to a timeline here. When I first healed, I did take a couple years to enjoy life, and I met my husband and worked on getting pregnant. But I always knew that My goal in life was to teach people how to do this. When I laid in that bed, paralyzed, and honestly, guys, now that I have a third child who has taken up my office, this is my office, and this is also my bedroom. This is the corner of my bedroom. I still have, right on the other side of this computer, my bed that I laid in, paralyzed, no arms, no legs. I am reminded all the time of where I came from, and that works great to stay in gratitude. And so we're going to be talking about the story that led to the coaching practice, because it's easy to look at somebody now, look at me now and go, oh, of course she healed. Look at her. She looks like she never even had a problem. What you see today, the person that you see me here today, is a completely different version of me 15 years ago. Completely different version. Mind, body, soul, everything is different. And so the more you can see the journey and understand that it wasn't just I found some healing information and then I healed and then I was fine, that is going to help you along your process and your peaks and valleys, because the healing journey, whether you're healing something physical or healing something mental or emotional, I'm sorry, guys, it sucks. It's hard. You go through these peaks and valleys. You get these waves. I don't know about you, but waves of doubt and depression. Is this ever going to work? Because we have been conditioned in today's society. You take a Tylenol, your headache's gone in 20 minutes. And then you say, okay, the medication's not working, or I don't want to take the medication. Let me try a natural healing protocol. And then you start healing and you realize that you're going to get worse before you get better. And you're going to have these peaks, but you're also going to have the valleys. And it's in the valleys that you question everything. Am I doing everything right? And I feel like if I knew this information while I was healing, it wouldn't have taken me 10 years. It took me 10 years of clawing out of the depression. And the depression came every time I felt another symptom or an exacerbation of a symptom. And I didn't know that that was actually part of the healing process, because healing your symptoms feels exactly the same as the exacerbation when your symptoms are getting worse. So how are you supposed to know, am I getting worse or am I getting better? And the answer is education. These Live at Fives, the workshop, the group coaching, if that's your thing. And the reason why I say if that's your thing is because I understand not everyone's an extrovert. Not everyone wants to, do it with a group of people, but it's there for you if you want it. We've created in the group coaching program that's now been going on for 2 years. And there are people who have stayed in the coaching program for 2 years. There's an ongoing support option. And there are people who have stayed in the group for 2 years. We've become very close. And we're on Zoom Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. It's me Monday and Tuesday, and then a rotation of other coaches on Thursdays. If you're the kind of person who wants to heal alongside a community and a tight-knit community and get on Zoom 3 days a week and talk about the journey and talk about what you're doing, it's there for you. The 4-month coaching program opens every, I want to say about 4 months I try to do it. And we don't keep it open. We only open it once every 4 months because we like that group to start together and to finish together. And then if you want to stay on ongoing support, you stay in the group and then you watch the new group come in. And everything is repeated again. And you're going through it with them. And now they get your experience and everyone has their stories to share. It's a very nice group. But again, you don't need the group coaching because all of the information is going to be in the Live at Fives, which are downloaded or uploaded to the YouTube channel, the Minding Your Soul YouTube channel. So if you're just getting in here and you want to know like the lay of the land, what's going on, go on to mindingyoursoul.com, register for the workshop, learn everything. At the end of the workshop, we open up the Path to Healing group coaching program, and then you're in there for 4 months and you're doing it. You're doing the protocol. So no matter where you are in the protocol, whether you started months ago or you're just getting started or you know nothing and you want to learn everything, that group program is for everybody. Everyone's coming in at different levels and everyone's helping everyone along the way. And a lot of it, we do talk about protocol and symptoms and how do you feel, and we celebrate each other's wins and celebrate the peaks and we support each other through the valleys. But a lot of it we talk about the mindset. Matt Rowe is part of the group. And we talk about the mindset because it really is the mindset. It's the support. It's the community that's going to keep you going through that journey and get you to a point where at the end of the 4 months, it's not a 4-month program because you're healed in 4 months. No, it's called Path to Healing because that 4 months is going to get you on the path to healing. You are going to know how to heal your body and you're going to have all of the tools to do so. And it's not going to feel overwhelming because each month we do a little something more, a little something more, and we keep adding to your process, your system, your okay, first we're doing the celery juice, then the lemon water, then the celery juice, then the heavy metal detox smoothie. And we're doing that all after a couple weeks, and we're adding more things into your life. So yeah, change sucks. Change, any transition to anything really does suck, but it doesn't have to suck that bad, especially when you're doing it with a group of people. But again, extroverts, great. You have the group coaching program to enter into 4 times a year. But if you're someone who is like, just give me the information and I'll do it by myself, it'll be fine. Well, then here, the workshop is for you. We're going to dive deep into every detail of the protocol. So I didn't want to take away from, hey, Jody, how are you doing? Hello, Ginger. Oh, Ginger's part of the group. She says the group coaching is amazing. We've become so close. Ginger's been in there for a while, and it's amazing the lifelong friendships that you make in these groups. You get to know these people intimately. And well, I look forward to it every week. I know everyone looks forward to it, but I even look forward to it every week. It's just, it keeps me going all week. It just uplifts you. There's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You just get that boost of, oh, God, I love these women. Ginger, thank you for that. Stephanie, I'm walking around every day, moving better and losing weight. Oh, Stephanie, I think it's time for us to do an interview soon. I'm walking around every day. I don't know if you've ever said that before. I'm walking around every day. That's what I'm talking about. We need to celebrate these wins and let the people know in this group. Listen, some people have been in this group for years. It's only been in existence for, I think, 2.5 years. And it started with 2 people. So I'm going to get into my story right now, and then we're going to lead into how the group got started and how I started coaching. This was my dream, by the way. When I laid in bed, paralyzed in my, when I say paralyzed, not like I couldn't feel anything, I couldn't use anything. My arms and my legs might as well not have even been there. I couldn't use them. And we'll get into how that happened. But when I laid in that bed, this was my dream. My dream was to figure out a way to heal and then teach other people how to do it. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I had no idea about Facebook. I don't even know if we had Facebook Live back then. I didn't know how that was going to look, but I knew I was going to heal and I was going to teach other people how to do it. So the way my story started is very common. The more people I talk to, I had mono back in middle school. 6th grade and 7th grade. The first time it was diagnosed as mono, and the second time they didn't know what it was. They just said my white blood cell count was out of control. The numbers were off the charts, and they didn't know why because they couldn't find an infection. We know that our white blood cells rush to the infection, and when they see the elevated numbers, they know there's an infection somewhere, but they couldn't find any infection. All they knew is that I had an enlarged spleen. Now, day 1 of the workshop, we're going to be talking about the Epstein-Barr virus and the 4 phases that the virus goes through. And if you're like me, listening to those 4 phases of the Epstein-Barr virus took me through my entire childhood. I was like, oh, okay, that was phase 1, that was phase 2, and I could see, looking back, how the virus just evolves inside of my body. So that's going to be day 1. And then day 2, we're going to start right into the protocol and what you can do. But you have to know exactly what you're targeting, because that was my problem. I didn't, excuse me, I didn't know what I was targeting. I was kind of in the dark, and I didn't have anyone to say, hey, listen, do this, then take a break, and then add this and do that. And oh, and by the way, it's going to be okay. This is normal, what you're feeling. Just keep going. Because I didn't have that person, that's why I became her. That's why everything that I say and I do, I believe that I'm talking to me 15 years ago. I'm giving you everything that I would have wanted when I didn't know what to do. All I knew is that my body wasn't attacking itself. And I don't know how I knew that or why I felt that way. It was just part of inside of me going, there's nothing wrong with my body, even though that's what the doctor said, that's what Google said, that's what everything on the internet said. Your body's attacking itself. There's no cure for it, and it's a progressive disease that just continues to get worse, and you're shit out of luck, and you might as well buy the wheelchair now. Google was awful, and my neurologist wasn't any better. Anytime I had any symptoms, I used to joke and say, I could go to my neurologist and say, my eyes are bleeding, they're hemorrhaging. And he would say, well, you have MS, so, get used to it. When I first had mono, I was in the hospital and then in the hospital for a week and then homeschooled for months. Okay, I don't feel like I ever got better from mono. How old was I? 13? And then the next year, I was back in the hospital again with that high white blood cell count, and I was exhausted. I was just exhausted. And I really grew up thinking that I was just a lazy kid. I knew I liked school, but I didn't have the energy to go to school. I didn't have the energy to do the homework. All I wanted to do was sleep all the time. And doctors never thought anything was wrong with me because they couldn't find anything wrong. They're like, nope, you're just a lazy kid. So I grew up with that. Now fast forward, here I go. I'm pushed my way through life. I just kept going, thinking that there was something wrong with me, but everyone else was doing it, so maybe I was just a lazy, unmotivated person. So enter into my 20s. I go and I get this job at Jersey Mike's, the corporate office of Jersey Mike's, and I'm just the receptionist. And I quickly made my way from receptionist to administrative assistant, and then they promoted me to procurement something, and then eventually director of purchasing. I was very young, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I just kept taking on more. I decided, okay, I got to take a break. I got to have my child. I wanted to have children, and I didn't take a break. In 2000, I wrote all of this down so I didn't forget as I got emotional here. In 2002, I had Christopher. So that was my first child. I started Jersey Mike's in 1997. I was 17 years old right out of high school. And then by 2002, I was the director of purchasing, and I had Christopher. That was exhausting. That pregnancy, I mean, every pregnancy is exhausting, but I felt like this one took me down even more. But I made it through, and I took 9 months off, and then I went back to work. And it was 2 years later that my right leg went numb, and I was too busy. I had a child, I had a husband, I had a house, and I didn't have time for a numb leg. And it wasn't until my boss said, Janine, you've had a numb leg for a long time now. I see you tripping a lot. Why don't you go see my brother, the chiropractor, and just, go see what's up? Because it's a long time to have a numb leg. So I went to the chiropractor, and he kept pressing on different areas going, does this hurt? Does this hurt? And I kept saying, no, it doesn't. He did an evoked potential test on me where they stick you with all those patches, and then they send the electrical signals through. And after getting the results of that test, he said, you need to go see a neurologist. It looks like MS. The neurologist sent me for the test, the MRI, the spinal tap, the blood work. And he came back and he said, and this was months later, finally got the results, and he said, Janine, you have MS. We're going to talk about this on day one when we talk about what actually is MS and the Epstein-Barr virus, because you think as he's going, he's like, yep, blood test, MRI, spinal tap. You think that he's looking at these things going, oh yeah, look, I could see the MS. But what we're later going to learn is on day one of the workshop, we're going to learn what a differential diagnosis is. All of those freaking tests came back clear. And even the MRI that shows lesions are scars, and millions of people have scars on their brain and don't even know it, because not everyone gets MRIs. So even if you do have, and I don't like to call them lesions because that's just a scary word for scars. They're just scars on your brain. Millions of people have scars on their brain. We're going to talk about that on day one more of the workshop, which is Monday. So he gives me this diagnosis, and I'm way too busy. I'm way too busy as a mom, as a director of purchasing. I don't have time. And back then I thought, you know what? I'm going to do like I do with everything else. I'm going to stick my head in the sand and hope for the best. I stuck my head in the sand, and I didn't deal with it. And things just continued to get worse and worse, and more symptoms. And the brain fog, it gets so hard. It got so hard to concentrate. Do you feel like, who here feels like the brain fog for me was my eyes wanted to cross? They could never, I had to work so hard at focusing because I felt like my eyes just always wanted to close and cross. That kept getting so much harder to deal with. And my right leg never came back. It continued to stay numb. And then at times my left leg, the foot only, would go numb. And then I would get these weird feelings, like these weird electrical shocks in my body that I actually was having since the time I was a child. And if anyone else got them, please let me know. I would get these electrical shocks in my stomach that would go through my entire body as if I just got electrocuted by lightning. And it would take me to my knees. And all of my energy would be zapped in that moment. It would only last 2 seconds, that electrical shock, but the energy barely came back. And anytime I brought this up to anybody, they'd be like, oh, that's weird. We now know what that is. We now know the signals are hitting the scar, and the electrical current doesn't have any place to go because the scar doesn't conduct electricity, and it goes like that. So as I continue to get worse, so that was 2004 that I got diagnosed. I continued to get worse, and the doctor said, you really need to go on medication. And I said, well, I really don't want to go on medication. He said, well, you have to. And I said, well, I want to have another child. I know I have to have, I always knew that I was going to have a little girl. And I said, can I be on medication and get pregnant? And he said, no, it's going to kill the fetus. And I went, what the hell kind of medication is that? It's going to kill the fetus. It's not going to kill me, but it's going to kill the fetus. He goes, Janine, listen, hurry up, go home and get pregnant as fast as you can. You need to get on the medication. So back then, being 29 years old, I was able to go home and get pregnant. And I ended up having Julie, and 3 months later, I went for my regular checkup with the neurologist, and he orders the MRIs. And I was supposed to pick up the MRI and take it to the doctor's office so that he can read it. But before they were even ready, I would think it was ready like in 3 days, but before they were even ready, he calls me on my cell phone, says, Janine, how quickly can you get to my office? I said, I don't know, when you want to schedule that, tomorrow? He goes, no, I don't think you understand. How quickly can you get in your car and get to my office right now? I go, oh my God, I'll be right there. I go to his office and he scared the shit out of me. He said, Janine, your MS is attacking right next to your optic nerve. And if it moves even the slightest bit, you're going to be blind. And then there is nothing that we're going to be able to do for you. You need to get on the medication today. We're going to start you on steroids as we get you set up on the beta-serone. Beta-serone is the every other day one. Back then there was only 3 drugs, the ABC drugs they called it, Avonex, beta-serone, and Copaxone. So that's when I started the steroids. That was in 2007. So Julie was born in 2006. So here I have a 1-year-old, I have a 4-year-old, and I'm starting the medication shots every other day. And I refuse to let it take me down. I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. Let's just do it. Let's just plow through. Oh, Bella, she just said I used to get zaps in my tummy and my head. They're the scariest things until you know what's going on. Those zaps, no one can tell you what they are. Now we know that they're electrical currents, but they are the worst. Quinn says I only got one. Thought my daughter poured cold water down my back, right? How many times did you look down at your foot? For me, it was always my foot. I looked down my foot thinking that there was either hot water or cold water that was spilled, and there was nothing on there. The crazy symptoms that we've all gone through that are completely unexplained. And then when we go to the doctor, they say, well, you have MS. So, yeah, but why is this happening to me? What can I do about it? So here I am. I'm started the medication. I was 1 year. Clara says I had exactly the same issue with the neurologist at the start, right? 1 year on the beta-serone. And I went from having a numb right leg and some patches of numbness, weird patches of numbness, especially in my head. I would always have this patch in my head that was numb. After a year of being on the beta-serone, I went on a work trip. We had to travel somewhere where I was flying home. And I remember feeling, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like, I don't know. Like, I have this horrible feeling of impending doom. Like, I feel... And when I got home, my husband goes, Janine, you just got done with a long travel. You're fine. Just go sit down, go relax, go watch TV. So I sit down in my chair on the ottoman watching TV. I think I was watching Law and Order, SVU. And I sat there and I watched the entire episode, whole hour. And after that hour, I went to go get up and I couldn't. My legs and my arms. I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs. They had gone completely numb. I had no feeling. I had nothing. It's like they weren't even there. They were dead. And that was the beginning. Completely paralyzed. So of course I had to take off of work. And during the time that I was off of work, and this was December, I think Christmas break. Yeah, it was between Christmas and New Year's. So here I was with my numb arms and my legs, and it had been about a month now that I had just been laying in bed, just freaking laying in bed going, okay, all right, this is it. I should have paid attention. I should have gotten the medication earlier, or maybe this is the medication. I didn't know what the right thing to do was. I didn't even know what to think or where to go. All I knew is that I couldn't do anything. My husband was taking me to the bathroom, and anyone who has to go through that right now, I feel for you. I understand what that feels like, to completely have to swallow your pride and just go, okay, this is my life. This is what I have to do. This is it. After about a month of still having the numb arms and the numb legs, my husband, I think, was getting pretty sick and tired of being around me every minute of every day. And he said one afternoon, Janine, I got to run to 7-Eleven. I'll be right back. And Julie, who was 2 at the time, was sitting in the living room with me. I was on a chair in the living room, and she was on a blanket with her toys around her. So I was here. She was there was the coffee table, another chair, and then she was right next to the chair on a blanket. And I said, my God, don't leave. Take her with you. He goes, Gina, I'm going to 7-Eleven. It's on the corner. I'll be right back. She won't move. And, for the most part, I thought he was, right too, because she was such a good kid. I knew she probably wasn't going to move. And if she did, she'd be fine. But he left the house. He pulled out of the driveway, and I don't even think he was down the street yet. And she got up to show me a toy, which normally would have been fine. But she tripped over the area rug, went straight down, hit her head on the coffee table, and you know that cry that they cry when no sound comes out, but their mouth is wide open and they just can't catch their breath enough to even cry? That's what was going on. So here I was in the chair. She catches her breath and starts screaming. I swear that the lump on her head grew instantly. I could see it. And she's trying to come over to me, and she's just got her arms out like this, and she's screaming. And there I was. Your instinct as a mother is to run, get up and go, catch her. I fucking couldn't do anything. So I kind of just inched down as far as I could on that chair and kind of plopped myself over. I eventually got on the floor. She eventually got over to me, and I'm sorry, I got to give you the visual. She wrapped her chubby little arms around my neck. And to this day, I could still feel as if it just happened. I could feel her tears. She put her cheek next to mine. So she's hugging me and her cheek's on mine. I could feel the tears and my tears together. We're cheek to cheek. She's screaming. I'm uncontrollably crying. And I can tell this story. I have told this story a number of times. And each time I tell it, I can feel it coming up. And I have let so much of this out, and it's still in there. She's 17 years old now. She was 2 years old during this story. But the story is important. And the reason why I tell this story is because everyone has that defining moment. Everyone has the moment where they go, I'm so fucking done. And that was my moment. Trevor, my ex-husband, my then husband, walks in. He sees the scene. He goes, what the hell? What the hell's going on? I'm crying. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I quit MS. I'm done. I'm not on this earth to have MS. I am on this earth to have children, to be a mother. And I say this all the time. There's no way God gave me 2 beautiful children only to take away my ability to take care of them. There's no way. I knew in my heart, in every cell in my body, I fucking knew my body wasn't attacking itself. Something had to be done, and no one could help me. All the doctors said, there's nothing we can do. Your body's attacking itself. And in that moment, I didn't care that there wasn't a way. I didn't care that everyone said that it was impossible, that every frigging Google site said there's no cure. I was going to find one. I was going to heal. I would be the freaking miracle. I'm not going to live like this. I always wanted to have kids. My entire goal in life was to have kids. In fact, I can joke about it now and say I probably should have spent a little bit more time finding the right partner to have children with, because, well, Trevor and I are still good friends today. But anyway, sorry, excuse me. Everybody has that defining moment where they go, I'm done. I'm so fucking done. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to do it. So we get through that situation. I get back up on the chair. He cleans her up. Okay, we're good. She's now sitting on my lap. He's there. Everything is good. We move on from that situation. And later that night, I said to him, I said, Trevor, I wasn't kidding. I'm done. I'm quitting my job. I'm quitting everything. I don't know how I'm going to heal, but I'm going to heal. And he was great. He said, oh, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure this out. And so it was about another month. So it was about 2 months total that I just laid there. And once I got a little bit of feeling back, I was able to go back to work to quit my job. And I quit. And I said, I'm sorry. I either continue working here and die, or I go home, figure out how to heal and raise my children. And that's what I did. And the first book that I found that gave me some hope was the MS Recovery Diet book. And in that book, there are these two women with MS. One was in a wheelchair and one was in bedbound. And they healed themselves with food. And to me, that concept was insane. Food. Why does it matter what we eat? I had no idea. I had grown up with a single mother. We ate, macaroni and cheese from a box and Pop-Tarts for breakfast. And we didn't think anything of it. Food is food. There, turn over, read the nutritional. And there's vitamins and minerals in there. How bad could it be? I had no idea. So when these two women said that they had healed themselves and they were completely symptom-free and they did it all with food, I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to start this. Now, mind you, this was, where are we now? 2008, Paralyzed, Julie Fell. 2008. That's when all of this started. I found that book. And in that book, they said that they did an allergy test where they figured out that they were allergic to gluten and soy and dairy. So I just quit my job. Also quit health insurance. I didn't have any health insurance. Back then, you could do that. We paid for everything. So, you can't do that today. So I did the elimination test and I quit eating everything. Gluten, dairy, soy. I always say that there's one more thing and I never remember what that other thing was. I didn't know about the eggs. I didn't know about the eggs until 2015 when the medical medium released his book. But when I did that elimination test, I removed everything from my diet. The only things that I ate were chicken, fish, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, and water. And yes, that was a huge deal because I lived on Jersey Mike's subs, Domino's pizza, a pack of Marlboro Lights, not a day, maybe every 2 days, but I was a smoker. And Sprite, all I drank was Sprite. It's clear. How bad could it be? It's just like water. That was my thought. I had no idea. So when I started eating like this, I went balls to the wall. Immediately, I felt a difference. Immediately, and I want to say not within minutes, but within weeks. I would say 2-3 weeks. I felt my eyes not wanting to cross anymore. I felt like someone took off the dirty glasses and I can see. I got energy, and I never felt energy before. I got clarity in my eyes. It's different when it's your eyes and your mind. I didn't get it in my mind at first. I got it in my eyes. I could see straight. My eyes didn't have to work so hard. I don't know if anyone could identify with that. The mind clarity came later, but I'm noticing these little differences and I'm going, holy shit, this is working. Something's happening. And I started to get feeling back in my arms and in my legs. Now, it was months before I started testing things back because I was feeling really good and I didn't mind eating like this for the rest of my life. I didn't care. I said, you know what, give me a pill. Give me a pill to swallow 3 times a day and I'll do that. I don't fucking care about food. I just never wanted to be in that situation again where my child was hurt and I couldn't get to her. So it was 3 months that I'd eaten this before I tested anything back. And the first thing I tested back was dairy. I think I had a cheese or something. I tested that back and nothing happened. And then I tested soy. And I know there was one more thing. I can never remember what it was. One of these days will come to me. But the last thing I tested, so that was month 4, 5, and 6. So 6 months after being gluten-free, completely gluten-free. Well, soy sauce, I kept screwing up. I didn't know wheat was in soy sauce. So it was about, let's say it was 4 months of being completely gluten-free. I go, okay, I hope it's not the gluten because I'm Italian. How the hell am I going to live the rest of my life being gluten-free? That's insane. That's not possible. That's what I was thinking. So I made myself a bowl of tortellini. I'm like, all right, this is it. And I sat on the porch because here it was, it's summer now. So I'm sitting on the porch and I have a bowl of tortellini and nothing happened. I'm like, this is great. It's not the gluten. I don't know what's affecting me because it wasn't the dairy, it wasn't the soy. It's not the gluten. But guess what? The next day, I didn't wake up. I slept 18 hours the next day. My husband actually shook me and goes, Janine, are you okay? What the hell? Why are you still sleeping? I slept 18 hours the next day. I didn't know what the hell was wrong with me, but even when I woke up, I didn't feel like I was awake. I still felt like I was in this dazed and confused funk. I was like I was drunk. And then the next day, I slept 18 hours. And it wasn't for 2 months that I got back to normal. Of course, I never ate gluten again. It wasn't for 2 months that I got back to my normal. I could see clearly. The brain fog was lifting. Things were coming back. I could feel things again. So I knew, it was the gluten. Something about the gluten. I didn't know what the gluten was doing. And I knew it was something about the gluten. From then on, I kept treating my body. I thought, all right, if the doctors think my body is attacking itself, and I know that it's not, I don't know if it was arrogance or intuition, I don't know. But I felt like I knew my body wasn't attacking itself. It's either going to be attacking a virus, a fungus, or a bacteria, and I'm going to treat my body like it has all three. And that's what I did. I kept reading about milk thistle and how it cleaned out the liver. So I drank a gallon of that every day. I drank all of my water was milk thistle tea that I had made the night before, put in the fridge, and I would clean out my liver that way. Over the years, I did a vitamin C flush. That took me down to my knees. I couldn't walk for a week after the vitamin C flush. It's not a very gentle thing to do, and I don't recommend it until you are healed and you want to do something like that. But while you're healing, a vitamin C flush, it's where you overdose on vitamin C. And you evacuate through your exterior. You diarrhea. It's insane, and you just evacuate. And then from there, you know that whatever level of vitamin C that caused you to overdose, back it off a little bit. And there's an equation for it. I'll never do that again. That was awful. Fasting. I tried fasting a lot. All of these things that I did, I felt like they moved the needle a little bit. And it took me from, I started that in 2008. Till 2015, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7 years. 7 years. And it just little by little, I would always get something where my leg would go completely numb, or both legs would go completely numb. And then I would have these peaks where I'm like, oh my God, I can use my body. I feel amazing. And then I'd go right back into a valley. But when I went into the valley, I didn't know it was a valley. I didn't know that it was part of healing. I didn't know that all the shit that I was doing to detox my body was hard on my body. And that by me actually killing the virus, the dead virus is a neurotoxin, it's a dermatoxin, it's going to give you symptoms that feel like you're getting worse. But what you're actually doing is removing the dead virus from your body so it feels like a symptom, but it's not. I would stay so deep in those valleys, it took me weeks, months to get out of them. And when I say get out of them, I would go into such a depression and be so hard on myself and get so down on myself. It would take me months to come out of it and be like, all right, I could do this. I could keep doing this. Now, the one thing that I did keep doing was the gluten-free. But I did eat eggs. I did eat dairy. I didn't know. I didn't know anything until 2015. And I would say from 2008 to 2015, I want to say about 60% of the way there. Because although I did still have symptoms, I felt like I was walking. I'm walking. I don't go down where I lose both of my legs at the same time. If I do lose my legs, they come back within days. There'd be times I would get stuck at the Stop and Shop. I'd be with my 2 little kids because I'm breezing over the story where my husband left me. So in 2011, my husband left me a note. I was so happy to be coming back from Whole Foods. I had gone there by myself with the 2 kids. I come back and I'm just like flying high because here I am. I'm living my life. I feel like, all right, the symptoms that I have left, I can live with this. And then I come home to a note on the table that says, Janine, I can't do this life anymore. Good luck raising the children. And by the way, I cleaned out the bank account. I needed money for my new apartment. And you have 3 months left on your car. It was a lease. That's what I came home to. I'm going to breeze over the drama of that. But I knew that could take me down. And I thought, there's no fucking way I'm going to be taken down. There's no way I will figure this shit out. Now, I cleaned out the bank account. What the hell was I going to do? Well, you know what I did? I put price tags on everything around me. Everything in the house I put price tags on, and I had a garage sale. Every week I had a garage sale, and that was my source of income until I found something that I could do while my kids were at school. But I went on government assistance. I had food stamps. It was a horrible time of my life, but I feel like everything happens for a reason. I knew I couldn't get worse because now I had absolutely nobody. It was just me and these kids, and I didn't have anybody to take care of them. So I kept going, and I didn't let it take me down, and I stayed gluten-free, and I thought, well, I have to eat anyway. So if everyone's saying that fruit and vegetables are going to heal me, well, then I'm going to spend all my money in the produce section, and that's how I'm going to heal. And I stayed positive, and I stayed positive through 6 months later when Sandy hit in 2011, October of 2011. Was it October? No, it wasn't. It wasn't October. That's when he left, in October in 2011. I forget when Sandy was, but it was after he had left. A tree fell down in my kitchen. And I lost my job because my job was literally underwater. And so the insurance money, they gave me insurance money, and here I am holding this check going, great, I have no job. I can either live on the insurance money or I can put it into a new kitchen. I don't need the new kitchen. I'll work on that. I built the new kitchen myself. So as the kids went to school, I would YouTube how to sheetrock, how to sand, how to put pot lights in, because where the tree fell down, I had friends come over with a chainsaw, chop up the tree, get it out of my house. Someone taught me how to do roofing. I did the roofing. It was insane. But again, I had such a sense of gratitude and appreciation that I was able to do these things. And even though I would still get tired at the end of the day and I didn't have a ton of energy and sometimes my right leg felt like it just wasn't there, at least I was up and I was moving, and I kept moving forward and I kept moving forward. So now, that was 2011. I'm breezing over a lot of stuff. There was a lot of drama in there. I did a video, The Untold Story, where I kind of went deep. I can't believe how deep into detail I went, but it was a month. I did that video a month after I had Jackson, and my hormones were raging. So you got all the dramatic details in there. But anyway, I want to bring you to 2015 when the medical medium released his first book. And here I am. I get this book. Someone says, get this book. He mentions multiple sclerosis. And I'm like, the medical medium? What is he, a medium? Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And so I get the book, and I just want to read you the passage that changed everything. Changed my entire life and is now changing the life of thousands, millions of other people. Ready? Medical communities also believe that there's no resolution for MS. They're mistaken. I go, oh, I fucking knew it. They're mistaken. The truth is that multiple sclerosis can be healed, and that is actually a version of the Epstein-Barr virus. That is page 65 of the first medical medium book that was released in 2015. As soon as I read that, I went, now I know the reason. He talked like I did. He talked like I did. He said, your body's not attacking itself. You have a virus, and it can be healed, and this is what you need to do. So all of those years that I treated my body like it had a virus, a bacteria, or a fungus, I was kind of on the right path. I kind of knew my body wasn't attacking itself. And we have learned so much since then. So from 2015 to 2016, I got rid of every last freaking symptom. I learned about the lemon water, the celery juice, the heavy metal detox smoothie, because the virus can feed on not only gluten, dairy, and eggs, but it can also feed on heavy metals, and I had never addressed the heavy metals. In fact, I read about heavy metals and how bad they were for any kind of healing in the body. I don't remember what it said, but it didn't say anything about Epstein-Barr. I had got my mercury fillings removed. I didn't put it together until after medical medium information years later, but I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks in the infectious disease ward where people had to be covered like they were, walking on the moon to be in contact with me because they didn't know what I had. They kept asking me, are you sure you didn't leave the country? I'm like, yeah, I would know if I left the country. I did not leave the country. Again, my white blood cell count was so high, they knew I had a very dangerous infection, but they couldn't see the infection. And now we know the Epstein-Barr virus feeds on metals. And when I got my mercury filling shaved down, I fed that virus because those shavings went right into my bloodstream. I fed the virus so feverishly, it put me right in the hospital. So we're going to talk about that during the workshop too. Don't run off and get your mercury fillings removed. Don't do it. There's different ways to remove the mercury from your body. We'll talk about that more. So this was the first book. Now, from there I healed. So everything that I did to heal, I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is that my body wasn't attacking itself, and I was doing things that treated my body like it had a bacteria, a virus, or a fungus, and it seemed to be working. So I kept going with it. It wasn't until the medical medium information came out that I was able to heal 100%. And I know, I'm sorry for the people who hear me on repeat, but when I say 100%, I never thought I would feel my pinky toe on my right foot, because my right foot was the last thing to heal. It was the last thing for me to get feeling back in, and I was fine with that. All right, fine. I can walk. I don't need to feel my right foot. But when I say 100% healed, I want you to understand 100% healed. Even the pinky toe, I could feel my pinky toe. There was no numbness. And it was all from everything that I had done leading up to the medical medium information, and then that put me over the edge. That's the one that got me to 100% healed and confident in knowing what was happening inside of my body, and it gave me a target. It gave me something to work towards killing the virus. So the reason why I do what I do today is because I don't want you to take those freaking 7, 8, 9, 10 years to heal. I don't want you going through those peaks and valleys and sitting in those valleys going, is this working? Can this work? I want you to understand that you can heal. Everybody heals. It's just a virus. We'll talk more about the virus in the 4 stages on day 1 of the workshop. But I want you to understand that when we go through these valleys and we start beating ourselves up because we're not healing, because we feel like we're getting worse, you're not. That is the healing process. That's what I've learned over these years, is that we have to, I like the word mitigate, though I had to look up what it meant. We have to mitigate the peaks and the valleys and make sure we don't go too far down, and that the peaks get higher and higher and closer together, because healing isn't linear. Healing is always going to go in peaks and valleys, but we have to make sure we don't go too deep into the valley. And how do we do that? We do that by taking breaks from the celery juice, from the heavy metal detox smoothie. And that is the process that I have learned over my journey. There are now tons of medical medium books. This one he redid. There's a revised version, bigger, expanded, better. He's got the Cleanse to Heal, the Liver Rescue, Cleanse to Heal. Did I say that one already? Liver Rescue, Cleanse to Heal, celery juice. There's a whole book on celery juice. All of that information in all of those books I have read numerous times, I have digested, and I have put that together with my experience of the healing process going through the peaks and valleys over my 10-year journey. So that's why the information that I give you is all readily available in the medical medium books from all different sources. I have a list of sources actually that got me through those first years before I met the medical medium, before he released his first book. And every single book gave me a little piece of the puzzle that I went, oh, okay, so that works. But I would take all these other pieces that didn't work, and then I'd find one that did. And then I kept going with, I found all these other pieces, and then I'd find another one that worked. And I kept building together my puzzle. What the coaching program does, and why this protocol is different, because it's really not different. If you look at Terry Walls and you look at Matt Embry, we all say the same thing. There's nothing special about any one of those protocols. We're all doing the same thing. We're getting the body back into balance. We're removing the shit that prevents the healing and putting more stuff in that helps the healing, because the body knows how to heal. We don't have to tell the body what to do. We just need to give it what it needs to heal. The antioxidants, the fruits and the vegetables. We have to give it the stuff or we have to remove the stuff that's feeding the viruses, the gluten, the dairy, the eggs. We have to get the heavy metals out. And there is a process to it. All of the protocols are the same, but I started thinking about this when one of my clients said, Janine, you have more success stories on your website than any other protocol. I go, what? Really? I don't know if that's true. But she said, yeah, no, I really think you have more than anybody with the success stories. And then it got me thinking, why? Why is that? All of these protocols, they're all the same. They might not all have celery juice in it, but I healed without the celery juice. You don't have to do the celery juice to heal. It's going to take you a lot longer, but you can do it. The reason why I think that this protocol works, and it works quickly and it works well, is because I take you through the evolution. No other protocol focuses on your life that you have to change and evolve into in order to be the person that can do the protocol. So here we are, sick, symptoms, life, maybe a job, maybe a wheelchair, maybe a husband, maybe single. Your life is here with all the symptoms. And then here's this protocol that says, do all the things all the time and you'll be healed. So then you go, oh, okay, let me do that. There's no way that you can get from having all of these symptoms to overnight incorporating all the things that you need to do to heal. The bridge from symptoms to healed, doing the protocol, this bridge, there's a lot going on in there. There's so much evolution that you have to not only go through in the physical, but also on the mental and the emotional, the body, the mind, and the soul. When you decide to heal, and I'm only speaking from my experience, because as I healed the emotional parts of me, that's when I felt this strength to do more for my body physically that helps my healing even more. I had to focus on all of the things in childhood that led me to a life where I said, I'll do it. I can do it. Oh, you're not going to do it? Okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll keep having kids. I'll take on more job. I'll take care of the house. I'll take care of the money. I kept going until I broke. My physical body broke. But it was up here that I had to heal all of the things that led me to breaking. So when we decide we're going to heal, we're thinking it's going to be all physical and we just need to fix the physical. But it's not just the physical. It's the mental and it's the emotional too. I don't think that you can heal without someone bringing you along that bridge and going, okay, we're going to take one piece of this protocol and we're going to incorporate it into your life, because I know your life is full right now and it fucking sucks and you can't do all the things that you want to do. So we're going to take one thing and we're going to add that in. How are you feeling? Okay, that's a little too much. Let's back off on that. Let's do it. Okay, let's start again. Okay, you got that under your belt and you're like, okay, I can do that one thing. I got that like it's nothing. It's part of my life. Okay, great. Let's go take the next thing now. Now we're going to take the next thing and we're going to incorporate that into your schedule. Oh, I know that's hard. Okay, so let's back off a little bit. Let's work that into the nighttime. You are doing the day. And we work on incorporating the second thing. Now we've got two things of the protocol working and your body's going, too much. I'm feeling the energy drain. It's going down. Okay, let's stop those things. Let's back off for a little bit and we'll just go back to that one thing. Oh, your energy is coming back? Okay, great. Let's add that second thing. Who is there for you? Because who was there for me saying, do this, don't do that, do this for a couple weeks, and then stop and take a break. Oh, yeah, no, all of that other stuff is going on with your sister, with your mother, with your brother, with your aunt, with your husband, all that drama. Okay, let's deal with that. Let's put that in our place, and let's learn how to put you first so that you can do all of these physical things. Let's learn how to deal with the husband who calls you peg leg and hurry up and why aren't you here yet? And oh, I forgot to open the door for you because your arms don't work. That was my husband. Who is there for you holding your hand saying how to do the protocol? And I think that's the key. When it doesn't matter what protocol you do, all of the protocols are going to work pretty much the same. They have some missing components, I think, but they all get that body working the way it was intended to, right? You remove the crap, you put in the good. Those are all the healing protocols. But what I think they're missing is the process of how to incorporate all of those protocol things into a life that already feels full and hard and there's no freaking energy. That's the difference. And that's why in this protocol, we talk about the protocol. Live at 5 is always about the protocol, or it's going to be stories of healing. Because we're building the library of evidence in your brain that healing is possible. I'm going to give you an example in just a second. Let me write that down. I want to give you the example of that client. Okay, let me just read some of these comments because some of them are coming in and I didn't see. Oh, you're talking to Grace. Okay, perfect. I didn't miss anything. Austin says, hi, Janine. How much movement/physical activity were you doing during your recovery? How much physical activity am I doing now? Yeah, no, not a lot. No, not a lot. Not any. I wasn't doing any. And I probably should have been doing a lot more walking to get that detox process going. But let me finish reading your question. Hold on a second. What are you doing during your recovery? Walking, weightlifting? What kind of things did you do? All the best. Thanks, Austin. So no, while I was in recovery, while I was going through the recovery journey, I didn't do any exercising. I didn't do any exercising until, let's see, medical meeting was 2015. Isogenics, I came across Isogenics in 2011. 2012. I'm going off the people that I met that got me into the gym. That was Tara. So 11, 12, 13. Okay, so about 2013 is when I would start going to the gym and working with the treadmill and just walking on the treadmill. And then I would start taking some yoga classes. So 2000, I would say 13 is when I started. Now, I have talked to, in this group, Saga Erickson. She swears by powerlifting. She said all my symptoms started to go. Of course, she eats gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and does all the thing. But she said what really got her mobile was the lifting. She got bored. Her husband was always going to the gym, so she decided to go with him. And she just started with 3 pounds, 5 pounds, and eventually worked her way up. So what I talk about now, and we talk about this mostly in the group coaching, I'm not certified. I'm not certified in anything. So anyone who's new here, I'm not certified in anything, except finance and accounting. That was always my life. But I want you to know that when you listen to me, I am just giving you recommendations. I'm just giving you my advice. Even the group coaching has disclaimers everywhere. Basically saying don't listen to anything Janine has to say because she's not certified in anything. And I'm not. I'm just someone who healed from MS and is giving that information to you. So there's my disclaimer. Thank you for reminding me. So I'm not certified in any kind of physical activity, but my girlfriend, Jen, is. So she's local. She works with my local clients around here. But I strongly recommend once you've started to heal and you get that energy to start walking and start moving as much as possible, but not to force yourself. So when you start the protocol, if you don't have the energy, you don't force yourself because as we all know, we have a very finite amount of energy that we can't use up because if we use it up, that's it, it's gone. And maybe the next day we'll have some, maybe we won't. So this healing protocol happens very quickly. As long as you understand the peaks and the valleys, we try not to get so deep. Once the peaks start happening closer together and for a longer amount of time, you're going to know when it's time to exercise. You're going to know when you have extra energy because right now, extra energy is like an oxymoron. There's no energy to begin with. And that's why the protocol starts with the morning routine, the lemon water and the celery juice, because that's what's going to get you the energy. Because as you look through the entire protocol, it's a lot. There's a lot of life changes. If you're not gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, the heavy metal detox smoothie you got to incorporate, there's so much going on. You're like, I don't have the energy to do any of that. I don't even have the energy to go to the store and buy the celery to put it through the juicer to drink it. That's why we get you that energy first. We start with the lemon water. We start with eliminating some foods. And we start very slowly because we have to keep the energy, the little bit of energy that you do have, and utilize that the best we can. That's why this protocol, the protocol itself isn't very different. I mean, anyone can get the protocol from the medical medium. Of course, I have my 10 years worth of advice, but most of it is the medical medium information. It's the process and the evolution and the hand-holding that goes along in that 4-month group coaching process that makes the process easier and it makes it doable. Because if you don't have someone saying, it's okay, this is normal, this is what it's supposed to feel like. I have clients who have started just recently. Let's talk about, I'm not going to give names just in case they don't want to be known. In this last one that started February 27th was the last intake of the Path to Healing group. Had a woman come in and each week she's like, nope, I'm not feeling anything different. And I'm doing all the things, Janine, and I'm not feeling anything different. And I go, so-and-so, I used to get very worried when people would say that to me because I was hoping and praying that they were going to feel that shift at week 8, 9, and 10. Because once you start doing all the things, you count. And week 8, 9, and 10 is when you feel that shift of energy because that's when the bulk of the viruses died and your immune system gets a break. And that's when you feel the energy. That information alone right there is so valuable when you're going through the healing process. So anyway, so I'm talking to her. We're on Zoom and I'm like, I used to get very nervous and just keep my fingers crossed that they feel the shift and that everything's going to be okay. And I would stay up at night worried about these clients that I'm telling, yes, you're going to heal. Don't worry. Just keep going. I said, I don't worry about that anymore because it happens for everybody. Everybody feels the shift. And I know you're about a month away. You're about 4 weeks away. You're going to feel it. And these Zoom calls are recorded. So-and-so, I am going to record, this is recorded, I'm going to take this recording right next to your recording that's going to happen in a couple weeks, and we're going to put them side by side because you're going to be saying in about 4 weeks how much better you feel. So then 4 weeks goes by and we have that call. Did I mark it down? I don't think I marked it down. We had that call, and she goes, Janine, I feel so much better. I was out in the heat. I was out in Arizona. I feel great. I kept waiting for that heat intolerance to happen and for things to start tingling and getting numb, and they didn't. I have energy. And so I said, see, so-and-so, I knew this was going to happen. I don't worry about it anymore because everyone feels the shift. Austin just wrote certified badass. I so love that, Austin. Thank you. I wish I could put that on a business card. My ego, I should say. My ego loved that. Certified badass. All right, I'll take that. Wait, ready? I accept that. Thank you. So, but I have to be completely honest with everybody so that you are set up for success and you know what to expect. That was her first peak. So when you start the healing process and you start this protocol and you go through the group coaching, you're going to hit a peak at week 8, 9, and 10. Everyone does. We mark it down on the calendar. That's what this calendar is for. By the way, it goes all the way up. It goes all the way up. I had 2021 over there. I finally just took that down. So it's 2022, 2023. We mark down and circle the last time they ate gluten, and then we just start to count. Because I smartened up. In the beginning, 2 years ago, when I started the practice, I would always go, I think the last time they ate gluten was about 2 months ago. God, I wish I wrote that down. Now, we write it down for everybody. We write down the miracle moments. We write down the last time they had gluten, and it's all right here and accessible. So I could be like, wait a second, so-and-so, the last time you ate gluten was February 7th. You're only like 6 weeks in. So that's what that's for. But everybody heals. You can't not. You can't not heal because it's a virus. Now that we know it's a virus, and once you understand those 4 stages of the virus and you can look back at your life and go, oh yeah, that was stage 1. Oh, and that was stage 2. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That was stage 3. It makes sense and everything comes together. So that's why we start the workshop. That's Monday. We start the workshop. Day 1 is MS is just a virus. Here are the 4 stages. This is what it looks like. And then day 2 is like, this is how you start attacking it. But this is why I didn't want to take time away from the workshop, because look, we're already at 1 hour and 2 minutes. I didn't want to take time away from the workshop. I wanted the workshop to be all like the protocol and the process and the peaks and the valleys and understanding that. But I wanted to give you my story because I need you to understand that I'm a real person. I'm just Janine living on Barton Avenue in New Jersey. And I healed myself, and I can't stay quiet about it and not tell everybody about it. So that's how the coaching practice got started. I started going, everyone needs to know about this. I'm completely symptom-free, and I've been symptom-free, and I don't know if this works for everybody because I don't know if I friggin' willed it to myself or if this actually works. And so I would start reaching out to people on Facebook and just saying, hey, listen, I healed myself and I don't know if it works for everybody, but if you're interested, I'll tell you all about it. And most of the time I got blocked or kicked out of groups. I actually got kicked out of a MS support group. In the next town over, I went to an MS support group as the guest speaker. And I said, listen, guys, I did this. I don't know if it works, but this is what I did. And they all but booed and threw food at me. They kicked me out. They actually asked me to leave. And they said, you obviously never had MS, and we don't appreciate you giving us a false sense of hope. And we would appreciate if you left right now. I didn't do anything for 6 months. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't talk about it. That took me down. That was hard. That was really fucking hard. And no, I have not gone back to that group yet, and I would like to, but I'm not really a badass. That's my problem. If I was a badass, I'd go back to that group and be like, ha, look at the website. Look at all of these people who are healing, but I'm not that much of a badass. But my point is, I kept, about 6 months later, I started reaching out again to people on Facebook, and these 2 women said, they didn't hang up on me, they didn't block me, they said, Janine, what you said in the group about the virus, could you tell me more about that? That was Angelica. I interviewed Angelica last week, I think it was. You can go back to that Live at 5. By the way, all the Live at 5s are on the Minding Your Soul YouTube channel. It's kind of easier to find. You don't have to scroll forever looking for your video. It's all on YouTube. She was the first one. And so I just interviewed her. And then there was Tina. Hopefully Tina will agree to an interview. She's out of the country right now. So, but listen to that. She's out of the country right now. Even just saying that, like if you understood the power behind that, when I first met Tina and she said, could you tell me more about how you healed and what this virus is? Tina didn't leave her house. She didn't leave her house. If she went to the market, which was close by, she went with her daughter and she didn't walk well. Tina's out of the country on vacation, on holiday, as they call it. So it is pretty amazing what has happened. So I was always working in finance and accounting. And so I would talk to these people on Facebook at night and on the weekends. And I just started talking to more and more of them. And Tina and Angelica actually were the ones who said, why don't we get a Facebook group going so that we can talk to each other during the week? Because we would talk on the phone every weekend. And I would walk them through the healing process. But they said we could talk during the week if we did a Facebook group. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, let's call it Minding Your Soul. I always wanted to call a business Minding Your Soul. Not that I was charging them. I didn't charge anybody for a very long time because, again, I had to know that this worked first. So nights and weekends turned into me hiding from my boss in the accounting office. I'd say that I had to take a phone call and I'd go in my car. Actually, Holly, if you're watching this, Holly was the one that I talked to in my car in front of my accounting office. And then eventually I was able to go to part-time because I did start charging people very little, but I went to part-time in my accounting and I did this. And then it kept growing, word of mouth, it just kept growing. And if you look on the success stories on the mindingyoursoul.com, my kids would yell at me so much if they just heard me say the Minding Your Soul on mindingyoursoul.com, you'll see all the success stories. It's pretty amazing. And I'm very happy to be able to do this for you. It makes me very emotional when I do the workshop and I meet all the people and everyone comes out of the woodwork saying, oh, Janine, I've been doing it behind the scenes. I've healed. I've done this. There are a lot of connections that are made. So you don't have to register for the workshop if you don't want to. It's going to be live in the group. The only reason why I say register for it is because that gives me your email. And don't worry, I hate weekly emails. I don't email weekly. I don't have the time to email weekly. But during the workshop, I'll email you every day a recording of the workshop so that you always have that. You could always refer back to that information. And then that also puts you on the, there's an app called ManyChat, and if you register for that, it will give you a reminder 2 minutes before the workshop every day to say, hey, we're going live, here's the link to the group, and that's in Facebook Messenger. But again, if you want to register to give me your email address, then do that. If you don't, I'm going to be live in the group anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just try to make it a little bit easier for you. And now that I'm learning all the tech stuff with the website stuff, and I can gather emails and send you reminders on, it's really cool. I'm learning, but I'm learning as I go. And that's another point that I wanted to bring up. My clients over these last 2 years are teaching me about the process and the journey, because my experience is not going to be the same experience for everybody. So the more experiences that I get to go through with these clients, the more information that I can bring to you and that they can bring to you. So in the Path to Healing, the 4-month group, like I said, there are people who are still in there, who want to stay in there because it's fun. We have a good time. They're the ones who are able to say when, again, I'm not giving names. So when so-and-so says, I'm feeling this, I don't know if this is normal, I feel like I'm getting worse. So-and-so over here in the group goes, oh, I felt that way too. I was so scared. Don't worry. That definitely goes away. That's normal. And then another person chimes in and says, oh my God, yeah, that happened to me. It was awful. Scary as hell. I thought I was getting worse, but don't worry. It goes away. And then in a couple of weeks, that person goes, you know what? You guys were right. It did go away. I feel amazing. Da, da, da. So those are peaks and valleys. And I don't want you to think that in week 8, 9, and 10, you're automatically going to feel, you will feel a shift and you will feel more energy in those weeks. You can't not. But you don't stay in that peak. You go back down and then you go into another peak. So there are always peaks and valleys. So anytime you're going to hear someone saying, oh my God, I feel amazing, I don't want you to think, well, I felt amazing and now I don't. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. The healing process, like I said, for anything, physical, mental, emotional, goes in these peaks and these valleys. And what we do through this protocol process is we mitigate those valleys so you don't go too far down. We tell you when to take a break, when to back off, and then when to start again so that you get more peaks and your valleys are less deep. Because the deeper the valley, the longer it's going to take you to get out of it, and you'll lose momentum, you'll lose steam, you'll lose motivation. That's why I know I was in valleys for months, and the depression was crippling, and I was by myself, and I didn't have anyone to say, it's okay, Janine, don't worry, this is normal. This is what healing feels like, and we're all here for you, and we're all going to tell you a joke and make you laugh and make this valley a little less miserable. That's why this group was created, so that we all have people while we're healing, and we all have people to say, do this, don't do this, this is what worked, and tell us jokes and send us funny memes every now and then. So, all right, I think I covered everything. So Monday is the workshop. Mindingyoursoul.com, free workshop. You click on that, you register, read about it. If you want to register, register. If you want those notifications, if you want the reminders and the recordings emailed to you. There's going to be homework. Don't worry, it's fun. It's fun homework. There's like little questions each day. You know, what did you take away from today? How much water did you drink today? Like little simple things. But everyone who does the homework gets entered into a drawing. And at the end of the week, we pull all the names. We put all the names. I print them out from Facebook. I cut them up on paper, and I pull them up and I stick them in a big glass jar. And I pull a name, and someone's going to get 50% off of the Path to Healing program. Because I know, like, oh, and by the way, there's payment plans. Like, I was just going to talk about money. I never want money to be the reason why you can't enter into the program if you want to. So there's payment plans. Right now on the website, there is a 6-month payment plan, but if you need more, reach out to me. I finally figured out the tech, and I could figure out how to do an 8-month, 12-month. I've done 12-month for people before. So don't let money stop you. There's always a way. Like I tell my kids, there's always a way. You just got to find it. You just got to reach out and ask. So, oh, Tanis, you're welcome. Thank you, Janine. Your energy is so infectious. You know, let me tell you something. Before I get on these calls, I don't have a ton of energy. It's you guys that give me the energy. It's talking about healing, and it's getting into, ready? It's getting into the now, this moment. It's getting into the connections with everybody. That's what gives me the energy. Trust me, if you saw me before, I was down in a cup of coffee going, oh my God, I'm exhausted. But yeah, it's you guys. It's all the healing stories, and it's all this momentum that we get started. Wait till you see next week. Next week is so much fun. All right, so next week is the workshop. It starts on Monday. Register if you want to on the website. And then I'm going to open up the Path to Healing during the workshop, but the first class of Path to Healing is going to be July 10th. So we have an existing group right now, and the new people are going to come in July 10th. New people are going to meet the existing people. We're all going to work together. We'll all become friends. It's really pretty cool. So if you want to join that, that's great. On the website, if you go to, I think it's called Path to Healing, enrollments. If you click on that, you can see the calendar. I did a calendar that you can see Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, what's going on, what time it's going on. Most classes start at 3 o'clock, but I throw some fun things in there with some like special guest speakers like Dita Fata, Dixie Willis talking about self-care and women's empowerment. So if you want to see the calendar, just go on the website. It's there. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. All right, guys, I'm going to go eat. I'm starving. Have a great night, and I will see you soon. Bye.